So at the end, Joseph says, you meant it for evil. This was purposed to be a deformative connection, but God kept intervening and turning even potentially deformative moments, and he kept transforming them.
Hopefully y'all are getting this, that gift number one that you're unwrapping. If you're dealing with rejection, let's see if it is positioning you, or let it position you for your purpose. So that's gift number one. And we've done such a awesome job of just describing that. So we're going to shift gears now here to let's look at gift number two of what that may look like for you and for us as a whole. So gift number two is revealing people's roles in your destiny. So gift number one is that the rejection will position you for your purpose. But now gift number two is revealing people's roles in your destiny. And here's some just some questions to start out with. You look at what you and actually, Bishop, I thought about some of the things that we've talked about in previous episodes. You've done an excellent job of talking about relationship audits, and I do that now even more so. You look at the relationships that you're in and the people's roles that they play in your life. Are you holding on to people, relationships once their season has ended? And so there's one more thing that you have been very clear about how current relationships are either causing formation, deformation, or transformation. Come on, Bishop, tell us a little bit about that. I know this is an area that we have gone deep into.
Yeah, that's it. We are social individuals. We are designed, and it's a paradox, but it's a great one. But we are designed that we need to individuate and develop our sense of identity and individual purpose. But it's in the best interest of our individuation and individuality to be connected, because we cannot fully develop as individuals without social connection, which is, another way to say is we need people. We are innately social beings. We're designed for relationship and for emotional attachment. And so our purposes are really more intertwined. And so that the relationship audit is that idea of saying, hey, comes from in pastoral counseling disciplines. It said that we are formed, transformed, or deformed by relationship. Formed, transformed, or deformed. Every relationship is either formational or deformative or transformational. And you can literally put your relationships in those categories. That's where the relationship audit is. Hey, this is really helping me to become. This is forming the person that I am supposed to become, the human being, or my new career. This person is essential and is a pivotal person, a key person in helping to form my career as a professor, as a psychiatrist, as a teacher, as so on and so forth. This person is really formative for me. Or this person is really, in contrast, deformative. This person is this relationship rather is distracting. It is contorting me into something. It's taking my natural entrepreneurial and business acumen and corrupting it, if you will, for purposes that are not in my best interest, that are either self-defeating or even self-threatening. And then lastly, this one is transforming me, which is more of a therapeutic encounter, not therapy, but a therapeutic, meaning it is healing my deformative experience. Wow, that relationship turned me into really brought out my dark side, if you will, to be Jungian about it. It really brought out the dark side of me. Part I really don't, the part I've been working on, it encouraged or affirmed the part that I've been trying to, really work on to be better. I need another relationship. Now God sends another one that helps to transform me back, if you will, back on track, back to becoming a healthy and holistic person that I'd like to be. So forming, deforming, transforming, those are three types of relationships.
Yeah. And when you think about the topic with rejection, so we think about how people may reject us, and where we find ourselves, and where we are responding now to the rejection that has occurred. So what am I saying? When we look at our relationships and we're auditing our relationships, you have to look to see, was this a relationship that I should have been in? This is a relationship that was really toxic for me. It was really deforming. It was really killing me. But here's the wonderful thing about this is that we'll try to hold on to those things. It really is like, and I've heard many people talk about this, attachment versus assignment when it comes to relationships. We'll find ourselves attached to people, and they may have been formative relationships at the very beginning. Because that's the one thing about relationships too, is that they can be seasonal. And you find yourself holding on to a relationship that has run its course, and now the season is now up, and you're trying to still grab onto that. There are people who I recognize that even within my sphere of influence, even within my job, yes, we're a relationship now because that is where I work at. But once I leave that job, I don't necessarily expect to stay in relationship with many of them because our work is now done there. And so you have to be able to properly appropriate where people fit into your lives. But I just really want to stay there for a minute, Bishop. That's some hurt when you try to hold on to people.
And it's complex. Because now here's another paradox, is that, so we talk about three types of relationships: forming, deforming, and transforming, right? What is interesting is that God in his infinite wisdom sometimes allows the experience of rejection in a relationship to be formative. And not necessarily deformative. Sometimes the rejection, and that's why we got to let it unpack, because sometimes the no helped to shape me and avoided me from being deformed. Sometimes I mean, just I can think of it's several childhood moments now where I could tell my parents, if they were still with us on this side of existence, I could say to them, thank you for the no. Now, at that moment in my immaturity, the no seemed deformative. Because it was hurtful. But again, we live life facing forward, and we understand it looking backward. And in hindsight, I can say, wow, Mom, Dad, thank you for the no, because the rejection actually gave me a healthier direction. And so sometimes it's not deformative, even though it feels deformative in the moment. Sometimes it's transformational, and sometimes it's formative. It's helping me to learn what to say no to. And so all of that, it really gets that's what's fascinating about this experience of being human.
It really is fascinating, because as you were saying, I was thinking about examples where I was in elementary school and middle school, and I wanted to go to someone's house. I wanted to go to a sleepover. My mother was like, no. And I didn't understand. I just felt like my world was coming to an end. I can remember one time she said, you can't go but you could go over there in the morning to give the gift and you coming right back home. I was like, well, what good is that going to do?
Yeah. And it's deforming my plans to be a social butterfly.
Right.
Yeah,
but you said something that was so key, Bishop, about the immaturity. I know sometimes that we are so short-sighted that we miss out on what the longer plan is, a long-term plan is. And again, I just even want to speak to someone who's listening to this episode. There may be some decisions that you made, and you made them just being short-sighted. We do want to let you know there's help for you. We want to let you know that there are decisions that you have made that, yes, you can come back from. The one thing about it, though, Bishop, and we have not said it just outright, is that there are certain decisions that when you make them, or certain attachments that you make, they can be long lasting.
Mm-hmm.
There's some things that you can decide to do, and thank God for forgiveness. But then there can always be some residue, if you would, from those particular decisions. But we want to let you know that that residue can be overcome. We want people to understand that when you are facing life's challenges, and when the people who you expect to be there reject you, that is a very painful moment, but so thankful that God would be there with you. And the thing about it, you said this, Bishop, is that he will send people. Sometimes it's not even the people who you want to be there. That's the funny thing about it. The people who you want to be there with you, those may be the ones who say, I don't have time for this. And sometimes even be your family. Ooh. And that can be hurtful. But what I love about God is that he will send people, he will assign people for whatever season that you're in, and it will help to reveal people's roles in your life for your destiny, for your outcome, for your result. So powerful. Bishop,
that's where the categories that we're talking about, and even the points that we're making become, we go back to point one, and that's how point one influences point two, because point two is talking about relationships. Point one, we were talking about purpose, and sometimes the Lord's purpose will intervene and even rearrange and reassign relationships. That's why there's hope. And you said your observation about even family is reminiscent of the example of Joseph, and the pit was certainly intended to be a deformative experience. The prison was certainly meant to be a deformative experience, because each one of those experiences could have deformed what Joseph saw in his dream. But what Joseph saw in his dream prevailed, because it kept saying he was in the pit, but the Lord was with him. He was in prison, but the Lord was with him. Potiphar lied on him, but the Lord was with him. Potiphar's house of a wife, rather, but the Lord was with him. And this, it keeps saying, purpose keeps intervening even in these relationships. And then what is so powerful is that purpose realigns, because we just talked about the relationship audit. So at the end, Joseph says, you meant it for evil. This was purposed to be a deformative connection, but God kept intervening and turning even potentially deformative moments, and he kept transforming them.
Yeah.
He kept so this deforming moment, but then the transformer kept transforming what was intended to deform, because purpose prevailed over the problematic experiences. And that's why there's hope. It's not too late for God to transform those relationships, or the outcome, at least, of those relationships that were originally meant to be deforming.
Absolutely. And we're going to begin to wind down for this particular episode. But Bishop, I just want to stay right there with what you were just sharing regarding Joseph, because it's so interesting how God continued to place people along that journey to make sure that the purpose was achieved.
Absolutely.
I mean, just as you were just walking through that, I just began to look at the various people, and that even some of them didn't always mean him the best, but he kept inserting other people. He kept inserting people to make sure. And I love that. I love that about God. I want to encourage people that God's going to continue to insert people, even when you face rejection, even when it looks like it's not going to happen. I look at my life, how God continues to show up when I least expect it. And the other point, Bishop, that I wrote down as you were just speaking is how do we want to show up for those people who are assigned to us? Lord, help me to show up even better for the people who are assigned to me. Now, how does that play in with the story of Joseph? You know, Joseph was assigned to become the second in command over that area in Egypt. And as you know, in the story, famine showed up, and Joseph could have just had his way with his family and his brothers because they didn't recognize him. He recognized them first. And he still showed up for them when they needed him. And isn't that something that when the people who have rejected you, God has a way of turning that thing around. I've seen that happen, Bishop. Yeah. And you can't be like, well, you turned me down, you rejected me, so I want to reject you now. I just want to share with you that there will be some turning points where the people who may have rejected you in the past will end up having to come full circle and asking for your help. And you want to be ready for when that does come. You want to make sure that bitterness that may have come with at the very beginning of the rejection, that you dealt with that and allow that to be resolved. So just think about it. How can I better show up for the people who are assigned to me, even though you may not like them? But how is it that I can better show up for those people who are assigned to me? Yes, Bishop. I want to leave it right there.
So hopefully this has been helpful and contributing and made a contribution towards unpacking the gift of rejection. We're not glorifying the feeling and the hurt of rejection. What we're saying is that our lives have purpose, and purpose is being unpackaged. And the gift part of rejection is a gift that is usually unpackaged over the passing of time. We see in hindsight that God's purpose has prevailed and used even rejection to provide direction towards a predestined purpose that he has for us. So as Joseph simply put it, even what was meant for evil, God meant it for good. And so please, thank you for joining us for this discussion. We'd love to hear your feedback. So please reach out to us on all of the ways that we have on the various social media platforms, because we want to continue to be relevant. And we'd love to hear whatever part of your story you would like to share as it relates to this. So thank you for this time. And we look forward to seeing you next time on Spirit in Mind.
Follow us on social media. We're on Facebook at Spirit in Mind, and we're also on Instagram at Spirit in Mind Live. Join us next time for a new episode of Spirit in Mind.